Hey guys, Suresh here from TMCB. In today's video, let's talk about day 6 in 100 days of code learning in Python. So without much further delay, let's directly get into the topic. Okay guys, before going any further, I would request all of you to click on the subscribe button and on the bell icon so that you guys don't miss any of the content that I'm trying to put out in these 100 days of code learning in Python. So now let's talk about week 5. Before we spoke about week 4, today we're going to talk about week 5. If you haven't watched week 1, week 2, week 3 and week 4, there are other videos that I've put out previously. You might probably find it in the description, or you might find it as a card coming somewhere here or here. So click on it and watch it if you guys haven't seen the previous videos. Now on week 5 is a very interesting topics that they teach you in Python for everybody, which is by the University of Michigan. The professor here is Charles. The first topic on week 5 is conditional statements. Conditional statements is nothing but if or else. If something is true, then print it. If it's not true, then print something else. This is the entire thing about conditional statements. The second video is more conditional statements. They introduce elif here because it's not possible for you to always put an if else, if else, if else. That's just gonna cause a lot of problem. It's just gonna make your problem a little more complex. So instead you put if and else in a single line, which is called elif, and you assign a particular thing to it, and then you print it if that has to be printed according to your problem, which is a very simple thing. I really love that concept. The most important thing in these conditional statements is your indentation. Now these indentation seem like a very complicated word, right? Because when I first heard indentation, I was like, okay, this is like some formula. But it's very simple. It's just the amount of space that you need to give before a line. Now after every colon, for example, let's say if x is greater than 10, you have a colon there. Usually you end that line with a colon, and the next line needs to have an indentation, which is technically a tab or 2 spaces. When you click a tab, it automatically indents in case you're using a notepad or any other text document that you're typing your Python programs. But if you have an IDE or if you have a text editor like Atom or VS Code, they automatically figure it out and they automatically do their indent for that particular line, which is next to the colon or next line to the if statement or the else statement, which is really nice. So you don't have to worry about if you're using any text editors or IDEs. Then you have a quiz. This quiz contains of 10 questions as usual, out of which you need to score 8 in order to pass. But in case you're concentrating on all the videos and you have learned everything properly, it's very easy to score 10 on 10. There are 2 assignments in this particular video. All these weeks we had only 1 assignment, but for this week 5 we have 2 assignments. One of which is they ask you a problem on, they technically ask you for 2 inputs. One is for the number of hours and one is for the rate of which the person is getting paid for the number of hours. So this problem is basically a person works for 45 hours. For 40 hours he gets paid one amount, and for the above 40 hours he gets paid into 1.5 times, which is a product of 1.5 times. And you need to do this problem by having a standard input function, and then you need to use your if and else, and then you need to come out with the desired output that they are asking for. Initially I felt it a little tough because the else of doing the addition and multiplication and subtracting in order to get this solution sort of played it. It was a little tricky, but then once I had the desired output and when I restudied or I decoded the particular problem, it is a pretty simple problem. In case you guys are having any problems in solving this problem, put it down in the comment section. I'll make a separate video for this particular assignment and upload it on YouTube. The next assignment is, it's about a score. They give you floating numbers. Floating numbers are nothing but decimal numbers from 0.1 all the way to 0.9, and every number has a particular grade. For example, above 0.6 is A grade, anything between 0.6 to 0.9 is B grade, and so on. And this also involves a standard input function. Technically the user will input a number, and then you need to your code should output a grade. So that's what the problem is about. And in this particular problem you need to try something else, which is try or except. This is a new technique that I learned in Python programming. especially in the conditional statements, because I've been learning other resources and materials as well, but nowhere have they thought about this try or except functions or this technique, which is really nice. Because let's say that right now the user should input a floating number, but instead of inputting a floating number, he inputs a string character. For example, instead of typing 0.85, he literally types ZERO 0.85. Now that will give you an error, right? And this error will be like a traceback error, which you are not supposed to get it, because as the professor thought in the Python, it's like a shame for any professional coders to get that traceback error, right? So in order to avoid that, for if in case the user is not well informed that he has to put in a decimal number and by mistake he puts a string or an integer, the coding should give him a command or should give him an output saying enter only floating numbers or enter only numbers. Now how do you go about this is, you first put a try, put all the if and else and whatever things are there under the try, and then you break that and you create an except, and then you print enter only numbers in case the user is entering any other value apart from floating numbers. Now this is really nice that I understood. And then there is a video which is called worked exercise. Technically, if in case you're having any doubts in one of the assignment, the professor is teaching you on how to go about it and what is indentation, how do you tackle with it, and all of these things. And you have a bonus chapter which is interview with Massimo Bansi, the Arduino. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I think that is something like an electrical circuit built with computer scientific. Even I didn't understand much about that video, but as I went through it, they try to build PCB boards which is pretty small, and they try and program these PCB boards in order to work or implement on any other devices. That's what I understood by watching that video. And as usual, every week the last video is office hours, where the Professor Charles goes and meets learners from various institutes or various universities from different countries all over the world and asks them how the course is, or how Coursera is helping them out, or how this particular course, which is in Python for everybody, is teaching them. Are they developing their skills? Is it useful for them? So these are the questions that he has. It's more of like a vlog. It's more of like a vlog, so you guys can just go and enjoy it. It's also like a stress buster once you go through all of these technical terms, and then the last video is like a vlog that you happen to see on YouTube. So it's like a stress buster. Now that wraps up for week 5. Tomorrow I'll be talking about week 7. If not, I'm actually planning to talk about a free resource that's there on Code Academy. I've still not decided on what I'm supposed to talk about. So for today, I'll wrap up the video. Till then, Suraj here signing off from TMCB. Peace.